Anyone can sell electronics. At Electronics Expo, they do more than sell products. They design, install, and support complete technology solutions. From home theaters and whole home audio to lighting, shades, automation, networking, security cameras, and premium entertainment systems. For over 22 years, they've helped thousands of homeowners experience technology at its very best. See the difference for yourself. Visit their Wayne or Paramus stores in New Jersey or shop now at electronicsexpo.com.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Wow. Michael Cohen. Amazing to see you.
It's really good to see you, my friend. It has been a while. Let's just say it's more than a day.
It's been a long time, but you know what? Look, again, Michael Cohen, you've been through hell. I love that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, you and he are on good terms. And that's enough for me. Look, I saw you, and there was a lot of fake information and disinformation. I saw you as an enemy of Trump and me as a huge supporter and friend of Trump. You know, it was game on, as you know.
I do.
I always tried to keep it. I mean, not always tried to keep it. I was always truthful. There's a lot I know. There's a lot I don't know. You know what I mean?
Well, that's unfortunately with most people in America. It's why my show on Sunday, when you know, you know. This misinformation, disinformation, malinformation that's out there, it travels faster than the internet.
Interesting. Faster. And the truth, as we know, kind of is still in bed. And there's all that misinformation and lies. I saw you over the years walking through the neighborhood. You get recognized a lot.
A lot.
You are... There's something that
Cardinal
happened.
Dolan is here, and as soon as he walked in, I've known Cardinal Dolan now for many years. A buddy of mine runs the tours over at St. Patty's Cathedral, so we've actually spent some time. He goes, "Oh my God, I know you." Giving me a nice big hug. The whole bit asked me how things were going. Actually gave me a nice little prayer, which I appreciate. He's such a truly good man, and I'll tell you something. There's nothing like a good, solid redemption story in 2026. And that's sort of what I now compare what's going on with the president and myself. And I look forward to the opportunity where I will get a chance to go see him, whether it's in D.C. or wherever it might be, maybe here in New York. I'll get a chance to sit down and to really engage him in a long time because he knows that I've been to hell. He knows I've been to hell not once, but actually twice.
Let me ask you, how many books have you written?
I wrote 2 books.
2 books. Now, one of those books you talked about, and I'm not being aggressive. This is the one thing that it's you must, based on what I read in the book, did you enjoy to some degree the notoriety or at least the being recognized? Because I remember reading somewhere that you wanted that.
Correct.
You wanted fame, and
Right.
you got it.
So I already had fortune. I was very lucky in my life. I basically retired at the age of 39 before all of this. The only reason I went to go work for Trump is because financially I didn't even need a salary. It was more...
How did you get all your money?
I started out in medical malpractice. I then had an opportunity to purchase one of my clients' fleet of yellow cabs in New York City. I ultimately brought myself up to 56 medallions. 32 of them were in New York and the balance were in Chicago. But the New York medallions ended up increasing in value from my price, which was where I purchased them at about $240,000 per medallion, to $1.4 million a medallion. And I had 32 of those. Something similar happened with Chicago, where I was successful over there. Don't forget, I started in the taxi industry in 1995. Stayed in it till 2002. There are so many stories that have been told. Oh, he was doing things in the taxi. I was a medallion owner after 2002. I was out of the business altogether, and then I started as a partner over at Phillips Nizer, where I was working. So there's so much, as I said, lies that were told about me. But yes, fortune I wasn't in search of. So when people say, oh, you went to work for Trump for money, it's not true. It was the fame. It was the notoriety around truly one of the biggest personalities, one of the most recognizable individuals in the world. In fact, I think there was a report once that he was like number 2 or number 3. You remember who number 1 was, the most recognized and photographed person in the world?
Lindbergh.
Nope. Lady Diana.
Huh. So let me ask you this.
Lindbergh?
Of all time. Of all time. No. Lindbergh was the first mega celebrity ever,
Yes.
outside of politics. All right, so some of this is coming back to me. Let me ask you this. Why did you tape record President Trump when he was getting, I guess you were informing him about the payment that was going to be made through the guy. You ran, and you're a lawyer, and you recorded him, and that became public. Why did you do that?
So it's not the story that you think that it is. It was not done.
But just tell me why, because I don't remember the story.
It was not done as a gotcha. In fact, I almost threw up when I found out that it was still on my phone. I had thought I had deleted it. I nearly threw up all over the lawyer's office when they played it for me. What had happened is there was a payment that was made by David Pecker and the National Enquirer to Karen McDougal. I reviewed the NDA that was done in order to ensure that President Trump, Mr. Trump at the time, was fully protected. He had not been paid back yet, his $160,000. And every single day, I would receive multiple calls from David. Hey, look, I don't want to end up losing my job here. You guys promised to pay me back, promised to pay me back, promised to pay me back. And I was like, right now, he's in the middle of like 20 different things. You're going to get your money back, David, right? I mean, you and Trump have had a relationship for almost as long as I knew David, going back over 30 years, blah, blah, blah. I recorded it to show David so that he would stop bothering me and stop bothering Mr. Trump. I did it in essence to protect Mr. Trump from being bothered. And you know what? It freaking came back to bite me right in the backside. I literally almost threw up. It's the one and only recording of Trump that I had ever done. And I was certain, 100% certain, that I had deleted it. But I guess I didn't.
That's amazing, and it explains a lot. And yeah,
nobody talks about that as the story. What they do is they created, he tapes, records everybody. So not true. I recorded other people who were actually trying to either extort Trump or take advantage. Or, by the way, I did it sometimes as a way of taking copious notes so I can go back and prepare.
You did not, I know, but that was not explained by you, I think, until your book, right? Or did you put that in your book?
It's in the book.
Yeah. I mean, you were not in a position where you could come out every step of the way and say, hey, guys, this is why I did it. You could not have told the story.
Nobody cared. It was
I know, but you could not have. Because
no.
it was, right.
There was no platform for me to come out and to explain, because the whole goal was to destroy Trump. And the way that they were going to, they couldn't get to Trump himself. So what do? You go after, like in the movie The Untouchables. They couldn't get to Alphonse Capone. So what did they say? Let's go after the bookkeeper. Okay.
And that makes total sense to me about the recording. And when you turn over your phone to these maniacs, they actually have everything. Everything.
Over 10 million documents of mine.
It's insane. And it should be illegal. Alan Dershowitz actually says that the founding fathers knew about the cell phone. There's no way they would allow this thing to be searched. It's like your brain. It's like your brain.
I guess this thing happened at the wrong time then.
Yes, indeed. So look, let me ask you this. So there were a lot of times I saw you on MSNBC particularly, and you had a lot of very brutal things to say about President Trump's character. Now, I understand the legal pressure you were under, but some of that stuff seemed to have nothing to do with your legal situation, and you were just kind of stepping into the role of an anti-Trump pundit, and you were given extra credibility because of your previous association. So why did that happen?
Yeah, so not exactly what I was doing. Not exactly in terms of that I was the anti-Trump, the critic. Yes, what I did is I followed what's known as documentary evidence and corroborating testimony. There was nothing that I gave to the prosecutors or anyone.
I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about look, let's face it. You were pretty nasty and vicious.
Oh, beyond. Beyond.
But where did that come from? So if you were a victim of lawfare, which I believe you were.
I was.
Why would you say those things about him?
Because all along I was expecting a man who I revered, a man who I was as close to as anybody, to protect me. I was saying to myself, I am caught into this mishigas, as we call it.
And you wanted protection, a pardon or something.
Not a pardon.
Whatever.
Maybe a pre-pardon would have been smart on their side, or at least put your arms around me and say, I'm not going to allow the Department of Justice to do this to you, right? I was waiting for the president to turn around and to say, whoa, hold on one second. They're coming after him off of the fake Russia hoax. They're coming after him because they're trying to get to me. But instead, what did they do? They all pushed me under the bus. They including refusing, by the way, refusing to even compensate the lawyers that were trying to protect him.
Michael, I have to jump in. Because the story is long and elaborate. Right, very long.
Which I plan on talking a lot about on Sunday at my 5:00 show.
Yes, this is official. You're on WABC.
When you know, you know.
But so the nasty, vicious things you were talking about President Trump, saying about President Trump, that had nothing to do with a lot of the matters that Russia hoax and that kind of thing. You were saying those things because you were bitter,
angry.
Were you making things up, or?
No.
But were you expressing how you really feel? Because you called him a racist. You called him a liar. I mean, you called him a lot of things.
Wait. Hold on a second. Look at what he had called me as well, what I was doing. If you turn around and you imagine with his 60 million followers, when you start putting things out like Michael is a rat, let me say this. A lot of bad things were said. I apologize for the things that I said. He also is unhappy with the way that our relationship turned out, not because of the way we wanted it, but unfortunately, when you are stuck in a situation as we were, it was really no holds barred. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful that chapter for me is over, that I'm looking to the future now where we can reconcile all of these negative feelings that were had and the negative things that were said. I know a lot of people are going to turn around and say, you had said so many terrible things about him over the years and so on. He had also said some pretty horrible things about me as well.
You were talking to the authorities, it seemed like.
I wasn't talking to the authorities, Greg, because I wanted to.
You had subpoenaed. But there are ways
subpoenaed.
Michael, there are ways of dealing with a subpoena. Look,
that's if you have the people behind you who want to protect you from the subpoenas. I had no one.
You had lawyers.
I didn't have.
You had lawyers.
I did have a lawyer, yes. I had lawyers.
And so, look, he perceived that you were, his word, a rat, right? You just told me, like he put that in the thing. He perceived that, and there was some reason to perceive that. That's what everybody was saying, right?
No,
a lot of people, or the impression.
Wrong.
Michael, the impression was, excuse me, Michael,
but somebody calls
you have to listen to me now.
But that's not right.
Well, no, Michael, you see the universal perception, and he had it, was that you were singing to the feds. Now, that may be wrong, but it was a reasonable idea to have circa 2018, 2019. Fair enough?
No.
Everyone's saying this stuff. Michael,
not
you
everyone,
have to give...
Not everyone. The far right was saying it, and unfortunately, that became the conversation. Nobody in the center, nobody to the left.
That was the conversation.
Yes.
That is how people felt, and that's what made you a hot commodity.
Yes, very hot commodity.
So President Trump responds in kind to the caller just mentioned the word zeitgeist. That was in the zeitgeist.
Yes, it was.
That you were singing, right? It may be wrong.
It's wrong.
By the way, the common knowledge, the conventional wisdom is almost always wrong, right?
Yes.
But that was and he called you what everybody else was kind of saying. It was in the air. You go and turn around and call him a racist. Now, that was not actually, some people accused him of that. Why did you use that word? Because there was a time, and it doesn't matter anymore, and it doesn't. Like, if everything's racist, nothing is racist. Correct. You know what I mean? Why did you choose that? Why did you call him that?
What you're referring to is in my book, Disloyal, which I wrote while I was in prison. And while I was sitting there rotting in this prison under some pretty horrible circumstances, the worst thoughts come to your mind, and I just put them on paper. That's really what it was. I went ahead and I started thinking of all of the worst things that I could possibly say, and I wrote the book.
But you said them on TV as well.
I did follow up because they were quoting the book.
So you kept that. You kept that with you. I mean, the bitterness was there.
Bitterness was there. It most certainly was. You're away from your family. You lose your fortune. You lose your family's happiness.
Your contention is you didn't. I'm picking up that you did not lie. Correct?
I did not.
Did you lie about calling President Trump a racist?
Look, I don't want to get into things that I said. Great, I hear you.
Michael, there's going to be a little bit of this. There's going to be a little of this.
They can ask me whatever. There's so much that was said on both sides of the aisle here. I'm trying to put that part past me. I'm trying to move forward. I have been fortunate enough to get the forgiveness of the president, and I want to move forward on that. I don't want to start going back to every single thing. There were things that you said about me, my friend. We can things.
Revisit. By the way, I'm glad you saw it.
There's. Michael, by the way, I most certainly did.
Michael, hold on a second. No.
Do you believe that? Do you believe the things that you said about me?
Well, we can relitigate that
if you wish.
You do remember that walk we had across the Brooklyn Bridge.
I sure do.
And we had a conversation, but we can revisit that.
People say things out of multiple reasons.
But here's the thing.
One out of anger, one out of circumstance.
Michael, though, may I? Because you say you want to dwell on the future, but you
I want to move to the future.
Move to the future, but you are spring-loaded to go into extreme detail about what the prosecutors did. No, that's wrong. You love talking about the case, the intricacies of the case, how everybody has it wrong. You and I could probably talk about the prosecutors. I think you'd be very happy doing that. And Damian Williams and all those people at the SDNY, you would talk about that and how you were victimized. But you will not talk about some of the things you said, and those are also from the past. So there's a little bit of a contradiction there.
There's a major contradiction. Unfortunately, as I said, what ultimately happens is people sometimes say things out of anger. They say things out of circumstance. They say things in order to, make yourself feel better. As I sat there in Otisville.
Totally understand that. But if you want to say, like,
I've already apologized, by the way, to the president about it.
I only want to talk about the future, but it's all on the table right now. It should be. Michael Cohen is with us. His show is Sunday at 5 p.m. Stay with me, all right?
Ure.
Come on, man. We're just clearing the air a little bit. Michael, I am happy for you. I think you're a victim of lawfare, and I am genuinely happy for you. And yes, if the president can forgive you,
my hope is that everybody else can as well.
It's amazing thing what you see in life. You know what I mean? I never would have anticipated this, and I'm glad it's happening.
And interesting, Cardinal Dolan said the same thing.
I stand by Cardinal Dolan, a great man. We'll be right back.
This summer, unforgettable driving in a Mercedes-Benz from Mercedes-Benz of Edison. Join me Friday, July 10th at 12 noon, where I will be hosting my show live from Mercedes-Benz of Edison. I'm excited to see my friend and GM Doug Wells and the entire staff. Mercedes-Benz of Edison is committed to making your shopping experience stress-free. That's one reason they were named the 2026 Mercedes-Benz Dealer of the Year by Cars.com. Visit Mercedes-Benz of Edison and meet me, Greg Kelly. See you soon.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, we're back with Michael Cohen, the former lawyer to President Trump, personal lawyer, and the current friend of President Trump. These guys are building it back. They had a great relationship, and I think it's kind of inspiring in a way. if these two guys can figure out a way to be friends again and forgive and maybe forget or not forget, forgiveness, that's the important part. I think anybody, it's inspiring, Michael. It's inspiring. It's beautiful on both of your parts, the president's and yours. When is your show on, and what's the best way for people to you listen on the radio? You can listen online. Tell us a little bit about your show. What is it called, and what's it going to be like?
So the show is called When You Know, You Know, because, again, there's so much misinformation, disinformation, malinformation out there, and not just specifically about me, not just specifically about the president, just about everything. It's amazing how we could live in one universe, and yet the conversation that takes place on both sides of the aisle to the extremes are so contradictory. They're so polar opposite.
Have nothing to do with reality.
Zero. And I hope to be able to tell and to bring the truth and the facts based upon my firsthand knowledge and experience.
If you've ever been in the middle of a story, and you've been in the middle of a lot, I've been in the middle of a couple, and I know of a couple, it's wild what the truth is and what they say actually happened. It's almost laughable. At times it's just tragic. Michael Cohen, I wish you the best of luck. Social media?
Social media going to be everywhere. WABC is pushing it out everywhere, so make sure 5 o'clock p.m. Join me. When you know, you know.
Michael Cohen, good luck. Stay in touch.
Get ready, Staten Island.
The Ferry Hawks are back at SIUH Community Park July 7th to the 12th for a 6-game series against the High Point Rockers. Wednesday, July 8th with first pitch at 6:30. It's Woo Wednesday in collaboration with the Wu-Tang Clan. The Ferry Hawks transform into the Shaolin Hawks. Thursday, July 9th, first pitch is at 6:30. It's Thirsty Thursday with $5 Bud and Bud Light Drafts.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.